Uh, First of all, is O'Grady near us, Commissioner O'Grady? Close by, I don't want to get too far out there. Is he?
We'll
Okay,
start.
okay, sure, okay.
We're starting.
We're going to start. So let me call to order the Franklin County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is May 29th, 2018, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Brown.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we begin this morning, I'd like to take a moment to invite everyone in the audience or watching at home to attend the Franklin County Office on Aging Opiate and Older Adults Town Hall meeting on Thursday, May 31st, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. It's a chance to talk about how the opiate crisis is affecting our senior residents, and it's open to the public. We'll have a great panel of community experts and cover topics like how seniors are affected as caregivers, how they can be exploited sometimes in the midst of the crisis, and what we as a county and the community can do to help address some of these very serious issues. For more information, visit the Franklin County Office on Aging website or Facebook page. Today we have with us guest, I think it's Rochelle. Rochelle? Oh, Rochelle Connor, what are you doing? I didn't even recognize you. Oh my gosh, how are you? So come forward to the microphone if you could introduce yourself, your guests, and tell us what you're here today, recognizing National Gun Violence and Awareness Day.
Thank you. I think Robin is passing out the handouts. Oh, okay. There's handouts for everybody, so I
Right.
don't have to insult you by reading to you. There's some information packed on there that you might find fruitful. Thank you, commissioners, for having me here today. My heart is broken on a regular basis by the gun violence we experience. And we experience it in Columbus, and we experience it nationally. And my friends here have experienced it personally. Sarah comes to us to Ohio from Colorado. She had personal friends who are at Aurora. My friend Kathy is a retired teacher, as am I, and just feels deeply about it. And Steve Maurer, can you stand up, Steve? You're my prop today.
The prop. I have to put this on now. It's too hot.
With the orange showing,
I have
of
to wear this
course.
outside.
I'm objectifying Steve, so full disclaimer ahead of time. First of all, Steve is a veteran. He's a supporter of Moms Demand Action. He's a former mayor of Botkins, a former member of the Ohio Senate, serving from 1981 to 1984. And he served in the Clinton and Obama administrations, both as the executive director of the United States Department of Agricultural Farm Services. Why do I have Steve here dressed in an orange vest? Because gun violence is not a partisan issue. It is not and should not be political. Why do they wear orange? You know what orange communicates? Don't shoot me. And so when people try to tell you this is partisan, just in a kind way, tell them not to. So that's why I asked him to come here. That's why a hunter wears orange. Now, you can sit down now, Steve. You done. Let's give him a nice little. Thank you, Steve. As I said, we want to emphasize that it should not be a partisan issue. We don't want to take away guns from anyone who is a responsible gun owner. We wish to emphasize gun safety. By doing so, and by passing common sense, or as we like to call it, gun sense laws, we hope to reduce and hopefully eliminate gun violence. On the handout there, you can read about some of the events going on. What I told you about what we're doing Saturday, having a picnic. Here at the courthouse, and Robin has already kicked it off with the beads I gave her, we want you to all wear orange, those of you who work here, on Friday, June 1st. And thanks to the hard work of, Annie and you, Robin, and who else in your facilities, we are going to light the courthouse orange, hopefully sunset Thursday night, because that is when Levesque and City Hall are also going to be burning orange to remind us about this important issue. So you can read about what we're doing here. You can read about the history of national gun violence and how it started with a young lady named Hadia Pendleton from Chicago, and all the people that are supporting it, and all the corporate sponsorship we have.
Rochelle, if somebody wants to get in touch with your group or you, could you give the phone number? Because there are people that watch this show
Ooh.
on TV.
Sarah, do you have the phone number? I have the website at the
The
bottom.
website is good, and if you've got a phone
You have
number.
a phone number?
It's on the website, isn't it?
I have an email address.
Okay.
Email address, and that is
Muncie, M-O-U-N-C-E-Y,
MOUNCEY
dot moms
.moms
at gmail.com.
Thank you.
Very
I
good.
think it's important for the public to be able to find you if they would like to do so they can join on Friday. I think what you're doing makes so much sense in this day and age that our children are afraid to be in their schools is just unconscionable, and in their community. So anything we can do to shine a light on this issue, to get people to do something different at the legislature would be good.
Absolutely. And that's what the last part of the handout talks about, is about the history with Sandy Hook in Everytown, and how we actually offer training on Be Smart. If your child's going over to play at somebody's house, you should ask if there's guns in the house. That never would have occurred to me 30 years ago,
Yeah.
or 25 years
Right.
ago when my kids were little.
Right.
Can I finish? Okay, great. So I'm just want to say that we moms are getting to be very close friends because we've been through a lot. We've marched together. We've gone up a half a mile up the road and been frustrated and enraged together. We've laughed together. We've cried together. And we know that while they're starting off these meetings with prayers, then with a stroke of a pen, an hour later, they're creating laws, or trying to, that make children, mothers, fathers, people of color unsafe. I'm a retired teacher. I come from 3 generations of law enforcement. And I'm asking you, has there ever been a time when it has been more scary to become a teacher or a policeman with all this violence going on? I don't think so. So I'd like to share a little secret about us that isn't a very big secret anymore. And you know what? It's that moms vote. We have a hashtag that says, expect us. Moms vote. And I don't know if you know, but there's a special election coming up in August. And then there's the ubiquitous midterms coming up in November. So we'll be out in full force voting. Expect us, join us. You have an email on the handout. You have the address. And in closing, I'd like to share a very well-known phrase, and that is, hell hath no fury like a scorned woman. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Hell hath no fury like a mom demanding action.
I want to thank you all for coming down today. Really, your advocacy and your voice is very much a part of the conversation for us to get stronger. And I would willing to bet that most of us have had our life touched by gun violence in one way or another. The schools is but of one place that the media has really paid a lot of attention to and put a spotlight on. But quite frankly, there's gun violence in our communities everywhere. And anyone who knows me knows my personal story, where I'll share with you. My father was a 2-time Marine in Vietnam, who survived that and came home and had his life taken by someone that looked like him in his own neighborhood and community. And I think when we talk about gun violence, there's got to be a point where we get very serious about it. And the answer is not more guns. The answer is not to equip teachers with guns and put guns in the classroom, or more guns in our schools, or more guns in public buildings. The answer is for us to have a real conversation and take a real look at this country and how we live our lives. And it's not to take anyone's ability to own a gun. It is to protect the safety foremost of everyone else first. And I think when we start to have serious conversations, the needle will move. But your advocacy is the very beginning of that needle moving. And so I just want to encourage you. I'm sorry I didn't wear my orange today. I didn't get the memo, but I will. Well, I can wear Friday for sure.
I need some beads.
I don't even have an orange tie, but I will get one for this purpose. Thank you.
Yay.
And how do I look? Good.
It's
There,
good.
yeah, thank
It's
you.
a good
Yeah,
look for you.
yeah. So again, just thank you so much for your advocacy. And I just, there are brothers, there are sons, there are daughters, there are grandparents that we could all have our own organizations to talk about gun violence and the need to eradicate some of these things that are happening. So thank you so much for coming in and all of you for your advocacy. And you came all the way from Colorado. Oh, you live in Columbus, but you're originally from? Okay, all right. Okay, good. Well, both.
I've been in Columbus for 8 years.
Okay, good, good. Are you in Franklin County? You're just kidding.
Are you registered?
Yeah, right. Anything you want to add before we move on?
I think you said it. This is gun violence everywhere, and to just suggest it's in the schools and nowhere else is not true. We don't always hear about it when it's in a community on community, and this is a serious issue that requires serious minds, people from all sides of the political spectrum working together to make the changes that need to happen. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know, is it?
We want to get your picture.
Yes. And so we do have a resolution to present. I almost overlooked it. Thank you so much,
We
Commissioner
want to
Brown.
get your picture.
And,
So in
O'Grady's right on
orange,
time.
Just in time.
So come forward.
He's got good timing.
Do I keep this on?
Oh, yeah, keep your, you want to put the vest on Commissioner O'Grady, maybe?
Yeah.
Commissioner O'Grady needs some beads.
I
He needs
think
some
for-
orange
For
beads.
being late, maybe just something like that.
I'm not positive that's
Thank you for sharing your story.
I'll give him my beads, one of them.
Oh, that's what you get too.
You're in, man.
It worked. Look at that.
Oh, he gets
How
that.
did I fit in there?
Here you go. We don't want you to be without beads.
Without beads.
I like the necklace better.
Syracuse ones for basketball.
Oh, good Lord, don't tell me. Don't tell Dana these are from Syracuse.
All right, here, let's get. Yeah, let's get you guys up. There you go. Okay, I'll take a few of these. All right, one more, guys. Thank you.
My wrist and my phone.
I do. How do
I
you
got
take
it.
it?
Yes, I got it. Thanks for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bugging us so much. She was on the phone with Annie in my office
yeah.
forever.
And the
Don't
filters
work.
came in.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. The courthouse will be lit up before the end of the week.
Okay, moving right along. Is there an approval for the minutes of the March 15th, March 22nd, 2018 briefing session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
Thank you. First up, Sheriff's Office.
Resolution number 394-18. Resolution authorizing a settlement of legal claims brought in the United States District Court, Southern District of Ohio, being case number 216 CV 130 in the amount of $25,500.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Masterson, Director of Administrative Services for Sheriff Dallas Baldwin. Approval of this resolution will resolve a legal claim resulting from a past incarceration. In order to avoid the time and expense of further litigation, we've reached a resolution in the matter pending approval of the Board of Commissioners. With no questions, I ask passage of this resolution.
Move for passage of 394-18.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce. Resolution number 394-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 395-18. Resolution authorizing a contract modification for canned, dry, frozen, and dairy food products for the Franklin County Correctional Facilities in the amount of $1,335,750.
Commissioners, this resolution authorizes a modification to the 6-month food contract approved on March 13th, 2018. The modification adds 16 items and approximately $35,000 to the existing agreement through September 12th, 2018. Pending any questions, I ask your approval of this resolution.
Move for passage of 395-18.
Moved in second and voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce. Resolution number 395-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Economic Development Planning.
Resolution number 396-18, review a petition to annex 1.387 acres from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City, case number ANX-0918.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenny Snap, Assistant Director, Economic Development and Planning. This resolution is to consider an expedited Type 2 annexation petition of 1.387 acres from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City. The area to be annexed includes property located at 1220 Stringtown Road, that's north of Stringtown, west of Jackson Pike, east of Interstate 71, and south of Interstate 270. Petition was filed by agent and attorney Casey Wall, who is in attendance, should you have any questions, on behalf of property owner 1220 Stringtown Road, LLC. 80% of the site's perimeter is contiguous with Grove City, and the city passed resolution number CR-22-18 on May 7th, 2018, indicating the services that will be provided once the annexation is approved in a statement regarding incompatible land uses and zoning buffer. Petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
Move for approval of Resolution 396-18.
Second.
Moved in second and voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 396-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 397-18, review a petition to annex 68.55 acres from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City, case number ANX 1018.
This resolution is to consider an expedited Type 2 annexation petition of 68.55 acres from Jackson Township to the City of Grove City. The area to be annexed includes property located at 5273 Hahn Road, that's south of Orders, east of Harrisburg Pike, north of London Groveport, and west of Interstate 71. Petition was filed by agent and attorney Jackson B. Reynolds, who is in attendance should you have any questions, on behalf of the property owners Joseph D. Brown and Marcia L. Brown. 47.3% of the site's perimeter is contiguous with Grove City, and the city passed resolution number CR-21-18 on May 7th, 2018, indicating the services that will be provided once the annexation is approved in a statement regarding incompatible land uses and a zoning buffer. Petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
I will move for approval of Resolution 397-18.
Second.
Moved in second and voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 397-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Homeland Security and Justice Programs.
Resolution number 398-18, resolution authorizing professional services contract with Marcia White and Bailey Stobart for peer support services through the Franklin County Public Health Reallocation Grant in the amount of $13,400.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Daniels, the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. We intend to employ between now and the end of August, when this funding runs out, Bailey Stobart and Marcia White to do peer support and case management, particularly for our ladies who've been in the Pathways to Healthy Living program, who have then been released from incarceration, so that we can continue to connect them with services. And also, Ms. Stobart will actually be working to create an ongoing alumna group for those ladies so that we can keep them meeting and keep them supporting one another. If you have no questions, I'd ask for your approval.
I just want to say I had a chance to sit with the ladies of Pathways, I don't know, a couple weeks ago maybe. and their stories were incredible. But more importantly, the help that they need to be successful, even beyond their release, and the resources that they'll have. I mean, it's just critical, and every little element of that makes the difference. And those are the stories and the things that were shared with me while I was there. So I think this is going to be a very good investment, important.
We appreciate that, Commissioner. Thank you.
I think that Commissioner Boyce said it exactly right. And in addition to that, to have the right matches for these women so that they can get that kind of steady support that they need will be so critical. So thank you.
And do you have a guest with you that you wanted to? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Move for passage of 398-18.
Excellent. Second.
Moved in second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 398-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 399-18, resolution authorizing a sub-grant award to the City of Whitehall for program planning and implementation through the FY 2017 Comprehensive Opioid Abuse Site-Based Program in the amount of $235,970.
Commissioners, you'll recall that we received a grant of almost $400,000 from the Bureau of Justice Assistance Opioid Abuse Site Grant. We are bringing forward to you now the sub-grant agreement with the City of Whitehall for $235,970. With this, Whitehall will implement a variety of efforts. Perhaps the one that will be noticed the most is a local mayor's drug court targeting folks who are arrested and identified as being opioid dependent or at risk for overdose. Additional targeted outreach by community paramedics, and establishing the Whitehall Fire departments as safe stations where someone can go and get immediately connected to care. Pending any questions, we'd ask for your approval.
This is so comprehensive. I'm really thrilled we're doing this in Whitehall.
And big hats off to Mayor Maggard and also to City Attorney Bivens for the work that they've put in on this and making this happen.
This is good.
City Attorney Bivens has been excited about this for a while.
Oh, he has, I know.
We were talking about it with him in January.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This is something he's wanted to do for a while, as has Mayor Maggard. I'll move for passage of 399-18.
Second.
Moved in second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 399-18 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Purchasing.
Resolution number 400-18, resolution authorizing 2 countywide contracts for printing papers and supplies in the amount of $450,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carl Cuse, representing the Purchasing Department. The resolution before you is for 33 printing papers and supplies to be used by the print shop and all county agencies. The majority of the paper items meet the Commissioner's policy for buying and items that are at least 30% post-consumer recyclable materials. The contract is for a 1-year period with the option to extend for an additional 1-year period. Pending any questions, I recommend approval of this contract.
Move approval of 400-18.
Second.
Moved in second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 400-18 has been adopted. Resolution number 401-18, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $1,646,800.
Commissioner, this resolution requests your approval of 99 purchase orders. For small emerging business enterprises, there are 16 purchase orders which equal 4% of the purchase order volume. Their purchase order total dollar amount is $6,844, which is equal to less than 1% of the total purchase order dollar value. These purchase orders have been pre-certified as availability funded by the county auditor. Pending any questions, I recommend their approval.
Move for approval of 401-18.
Second. You got it out. That's good.
Yeah, a little difficult today. I'm not sure why.
You and Michael both
Yeah,
had
it's
that. Yeah.
Long weekend.
Moved in second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 401-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 402-18, A resolution authorizing the issuance of one or more series of lease revenue bonds pursuant to a master lease purchase and sublease purchase agreement with the Huntington National Bank and Columbus Montessori Education Center in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $780,000, the proceeds of which would be used for the purpose of refunding the outstanding principal amount of the County of Franklin, Ohio adjustable rate demand economic development revenue bonds series 2000 Columbus Montessori Education Center project for the benefit of the Columbus Montessori Education Center, which owns and operates the project, financed by the proceeds of the prior bonds as defined below, located within the County of Franklin, Ohio, authorizing a tax exemption certificate and agreement, and authorizing other documents and related actions in connection with the issuance of such lease revenue bonds.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Josh Grossman with Dinsmore and Scholl, and I'm here today in our capacity as bond counsel in this proposed transaction. I have with me today Patrick King, and he's a board member for Columbus Montessori. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize the issuance by the county of the lease revenue bonds pursuant to a master lease purchase and sublease purchase agreement with Huntington National Bank and Columbus Montessori Education Center. The resolution also authorizes the county to sign a tax agreement and other documents related to the issuance of the bonds. The proposed bonds will be issued in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $780,000, and the proceeds will benefit and be used by the school to refund the outstanding principal amount of the 2000 bonds that were issued by the county on October 31st, 2000. By refunding the prior bonds, Columbus Montessori will incur significant debt savings. It's important to remember that these lease revenue bonds will not constitute an indebtedness or pledge of the faith or credit or taxing powers of Franklin County, and the county will have no obligation to pay debt service on the bonds. The lease revenue bonds shall be payable solely from the revenues and the property provided by Columbus Montessori Education Center, and Columbus Montessori Education Center will be responsible for all costs and expenses incurred in connection with the transaction, and the documents contain the customary indemnification provisions, providing that Columbus Montessori will pay any costs and expenses with the bonds in the future. We respectfully ask for your approval, and please let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, what are the, what's the rating on the bonds?
The bonds are not rated.
And with this, that's what I figured, in this low amount, what's the savings? You said it was significant saving, but that's a really low par amount for a bond, even for refunding.
Yeah, good question. The outstanding bonds are variable rate demand bonds where they're LIBOR plus with a letter of credit, and we are subject to the whims of the bank and have experienced some issues associated with that. So while there is a debt service savings associated with this transaction, the real motivation is just simplicity in fixing out our debt savings for the next 7 years.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thanks.
I'll move for passage of 40218.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 402-18 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 403-18, resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding for funding the expansion to the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority, Columbus Downtown Hotel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Don Brown, Director of the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority, and joining me is
Brian Ross, the President and CEO of Experience Columbus.
6 years ago, Commissioners, the Convention Facilities Authority developed the Columbus Downtown Hilton. We could not have done that without your support, which was key. The project has been a complete success financially. It has been self-supporting since it opened, and it fully expect that it will remain self-supporting. More importantly, it has drawn thousands of visitors to Columbus, and key events like the National Association of Counties, like the Southern Baptist Convention, like the NHL All-Star Game, like the Women's Final Four, and it's been so successful that we need to expand the capacity so that we have more convention hotel guest room space. And we can do more events like that, and we can do them more often.
Tell us more about the National Association of Counties event that we had.
How successful was
Thank you
that?
for hosting that.
I heard it was the most successful ever, and it's because of the Hilton.
So we thank you for your past support, and we ask for your approval of this resolution, which would take the first step towards expanding our capacity by authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the county and the city of Columbus and with the Convention Facilities Authority. It will be followed by a resolution asking for your support and approval of a cooperative agreement. We expect to present that to you by September, and then we expect to proceed with, on the basis of this authorization, the MOU, we expect to proceed with procurement of design services and procurement of construction management services.
Well, let me begin by, Brian, did you have something you want to add before I pepper you with questions? Yeah.
Hopefully I have the answer.
I want to say to the public, there a lot of work has gone into this conversation. This is not a very simple, it's not just building a hotel. You know, when you see the cranes show up downtown, know that behind that is a lot of work, and there's a big picture and a logic to it. But that being said, without getting all into the grassroots of this transaction, I think it's important to talk about a few things. One, the resolution reads that this is authorized amendment of understanding for funding of the expansion. So just clarify the word funding for the expansion, and then from there, I know what you're going to say. So from there, if you can, I know what he's going to say. But from the funding standpoint, then I really want to I want everyone to understand what the county's on the hook for, if you will, as it relates to a hotel. Because some people might say the county is involved with building a hotel. And so I just want to make sure that we're able to explain to the public they should be as excited as we are about this investment in this project. So that's the purpose of my line of questioning.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyce. The funding for the project will be, like the first development, will be totally self-supporting. So we expect the funding to come from hotel net operating income and from a rebate of the bed taxes by the City of Columbus and by the Convention Facilities Authority. In order to attract the lowest cost, to obtain the lowest cost of capital, the Convention Facilities Authority will ask for the city and county to provide credit enhancement, credit support for the bonds that the Convention Facility Authority will issue. Those bonds, again, will be paid off with hotel net operating income and with bed tax rebates. What we're asking the city and county for is to give us access to the capital markets, give the Convention Facilities Authority access to the capital markets so we can obtain the cheapest capital costs at so that we can borrow at the lowest possible rates. The MOU and the conversation that have led up to it have basically arrived at an agreement on two bookend approaches. One, under the first, option A, the city and county would provide credit enhancement for the full cost of the project, which is estimated to be $180 million. Under the alternative plan, option B, the city and county would provide credit enhancement or backstop for half of that cost. And the remainder would be financed without credit support, just on the strength of the project revenues themselves. Now, because it is only relying on project revenues and it is not enhanced, the cost of that second half will come at a higher cost of capital. Our analysis so far shows that it is still it will still pay for itself and still be self-supporting. So we're confident that we can move forward under either approach. One will be will increase the project cost by more than the other approach will. In the end, the project will. What's most important is that will allow us to continue to draw more events more often to Columbus, so that we can continue to compete for meetings, conventions, and trade shows.
So a couple things, because I just want to be real clear. One, so this resolution doesn't identify which plan we're choosing, and so do we, by adopting this resolution today, does that sort of, are we giving up the selection of the two financing options? Because I was under the impression we'd be agreeing to that via this resolution, and so are we giving up that authority by?
Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. President Boyce, Commissioner Brown, Commissioner O'Grady. No, we will not be giving up that authority through the passage of this resolution. This resolution is intent to provide credit enhancement as outlined by Mr. Brown, as well as to provide what essentially will serve as the guiding principles that both the city and the county and the CFA will follow when we enter into a supplemental cooperative agreement. That cooperative agreement will outline the terms and the structure of the county's and the city's respective credit support, whether that be back two different sets of bonds, one set of bonds backed by the credit of the CFA, a second set of bonds backed in a traditional way that the city and county currently supports CFA debt.
Right. Thank you, Administrator. But I want to be clear because Mr. Brown mentioned that the two options are still on, the 180 option as well as the 50 split with the city. And so I just want to make sure that we have the ability to weigh in on our preferable, the commissioners have the ability to weigh in on our preferable buy-in, if you will, come time to make that choice. I think it's safe to say that we're all enthusiasts about the understanding of this need for the hotel, but we want to get it right. And I think, I do have a second line of questioning, because what I think it's important for the public to understand what we're committing and what that means to them. And so I want to just come back to that, but I just want to be on the record to say that the commissioners of BOC will have a choice to weigh in on the actual final financing option that puts the county sort of, quote unquote, in the deal.
President Boyce, yes. That will be outlined in the cooperative agreement.
And I want to add, doesn't mean we don't do it either way, with either option. Doesn't mean because that's something that we'd have to decide on. I just want to be clear that we will have that option once we have the details as what's best for Franklin County residents.
This is just the intent to move forward and lay out those guiding principles. For example, as this cooperative agreement speaks to credit support, it speaks that the credit support arrangement that will be part of the cooperative agreement will not be an indebtedness of the city or the county, or neither serve as the general credit of the city or the county, or be pledged for the payment of whatever type bonds that are issued. Because the intent is, Mr. Brown outlined, is that the bonds will be self-supported by the expansion itself using net operating income of the new hotel, as well as there's the bed tax rebate.
Right.
So between, by the time we come back to you with the cooperative agreement, the county and the city and the CFA will have had to choose which of the two options that we've talked about to move forward, which our preference is. And the cooperative agreement will reflect that choice. That will be the binding commitment by which we will bid and award construction contracts. This pledge of support that's before you today is enough for the CFA to proceed at its own risk with procurement, with the procurement and selection of a design team.
Okay. So I just want to make sure for the public, the general public watching, this would be equivalent to a cosigner. That we're essentially co-signing on your credit to, my son wants a car right now. His credit probably wouldn't afford, the payment would probably be too much under his own credit. So dad signs on to say that should something go wrong, he loses his job or whatever, I will support that payment. And I think that's essentially what we're saying here. But I also want to make sure it's understood that, while the county is not building the hotel, we are a part of it, and it's important for either agreement. I want the public to make sure they understand that yes, we are investing in, and we can get into why, how valuable that is and important in the economics of it. But I want to make sure it's clear that we are investing in the building of this additional, the expansion of the Hilton.
Absolutely.
And that's important. The other thing I want to just throw out, and I don't want to hog the question, my colleagues may have some too, but has the city passed their resolution already? So this, as our 50
They
part,
did last
I know
week.
they did, but I just want them to be on the
Oh.
record to say it. Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner. The city council adopted the resolution a week ago yesterday,
Okay, good.
and by unanimous vote. The
And what-
CFA, the Convention Facilities Authority Board, adopted a similar resolution a week ago today.
Yeah, why that's important, I want to be clear why it's important, because I really want the public to understand that this is a partnership, that we are looking at this as a community, and this is why this is valuable, that the city is coming to the table, the county, the CFA, and we're all sort of investing in this economic development opportunity for Franklin County or Central Ohio. And that's why I want to make sure it's all on the record.
Absolutely.
And we're totally transparent with the public about what we're doing, and that they understand it completely. The other thing that you had said, and this will be important when we get into the details, and this is probably not the right forum for that, so we don't need to, but I just want to make sure the public is following us on this. So you said the 180 option. If we go that route, in terms of the CFA doing its own, it's not affordable. We won't do it, correct? That if we didn't participate, the county and the city, that it would almost be economically
That's correct.
not feasible.
That's
to do,
correct.
Which the impact of that is layered by jobs and economic and all the other things that you talked about.
That's correct. There are 200 to 400 construction jobs that will result from this project. There are 240 permanent full-time jobs that will result from the opening of the hotel. So there's economic development associated with this project, yes.
And then there's also the increase in number of conventions and conferences we're able to bring in, which bring additional funds in.
Absolutely, Commissioner.
And from the overall economic side of things, this is necessary for us to continue to compete with the other cities in the tourism economy. Again, for Franklin County and the city of Columbus, we have 41.1 million visitors each year. 1 in every 12 jobs in Franklin County is supported by the tourism economy. And I would also say without the taxes the visitors bring in, each household in Franklin County would have to pay an additional $2,300 to keep the same services that they have. So this is very important to us moving forward. As far as new business, it will allow us to compete in with our competitive set for an additional 900,000 room nights that we know is out there in our competitive set. So this is very important for us to continue to grow the economy locally, particularly in the tourism.
Mr. Ross, I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing I wanted you to explain to the public. I mean, this is an economic development decision that impacts the quality of life for everyone. It seems like it's something downtown, whatnot, but the jobs, the economic development impact, all of those things are going to enhance Central Ohio, and we're thinking big picture, and this is an investment that way. My final question, and I'm going to be quiet, is what are the implications on Franklin County's credit? If we co-sign on it, what does that mean for our own credit rating, and have we looked at the potential of how the rating agencies will view that? I mean, Ken and I just came back from New York, where we priced bonds last week on behalf of the county, and went through this whole extensive process with the rating agencies, and, they look at everything. And I just want to understand, what is the implication on our overall credit?
We will examine in detail, and that's one of the factors laid out in this MOU as it relates to the impact of city and county debt capacity policies and its ratings. When we get to the stages of looking at the cooperative agreement, we not only will look at the supplemental cooperative agreement, we will also respect the cooperative agreement that was entered into in 2010. And that is a significant item because of the level of the county's commitment through both a hotel cash pledge and its primary backstop. This transaction will be different than that as it relates to the level of credit support provided. But the credit examination will be one of those things, and we won't know the extent of the credit until we have the details of what that structure looks like.
I'll just add that I think that's a really important part of, as we finalize this. I think for the Board of Commissioners to really understand the implications, because the investment today, it could have investments impact down the road, and doesn't mean we don't do it. It just means we understand what we're doing. And so I want to encourage that as that feedback comes back from the rating agencies and the consultants involved, I think that the commissioners should be briefed and make sure that we're given the full understanding as we choose the financing element that we're supportive of.
So Don, how long will it, I know you got to go through the design process and get this thing designed and planned for. How long will it take you to get some shovels in the ground?
We believe,
but understanding that we have some folks coming to town here pretty soon that are going to want to see some steel rising and some holes in the ground, this will be a big deal.
we have a very important event coming to town in August of 19, and we fully expect that you and will be able to see steel rising out of the ground by that time. We expect it'll take 3 years to design and build. We have a good shot at having it open by January of 22.
Okay, so to follow that question up, Brian, we have, obviously we've got ASAE coming here in August of 19, which is a huge conference. It's the one that we were all working so hard for, and shooting for, and planning for, on the heels of the NACO conference that we had last year. But we also have more conferences as a result of ASAE that we think that we're in the running for and that we're going to want to see come to Columbus. Talk about some of those and what we're going to put a big push in for here in the coming months even.
Yes, and thank you. And Don and I continue to work together. What this will allow us to do will be more competitive. I mentioned the 900,000 rooms that are out there, and this is in that professional association segment. So whether it's medical associations, engineering associations, higher education associations, there are many opportunities out there that we will be pursuing. As a part of us winning ASAE and them investing in our future and what we are doing from an innovative standpoint, PCMA, which is the Professional Convention Managers Association, all of us will be a part of that big visit to Columbus in June, which again will bring thousands of people into our community that plan meetings and are the decision makers.
And I should say ASAE is the American Society of Association Executives, which is they're the people who plan meetings for associations all over the country. It's kind of the Super Bowl of associations. Kevin and I went to Toronto last August to see their convention up there. It's gigantic. We're going to Chicago again this summer for that, and it is the Super Bowl of conferences because those folks then plan their conferences, and you get spin-off conferences from them for the next 10 years, and PCMA is the same way. So they're just.
I would add that the biggest ROI from an economic development standpoint is that with ASAE, 20% of those individuals will bring their conferences here, which is $500 million in economic impact.
It's impressive, and we've got to gear up to be ready to do it and do it right.
We appreciate your support. It wouldn't be done without you as leaders, so thank you.
Great.
Ready to move?
Yeah.
I'll move for approval of 40318.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting, Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 403-18 has been adopted.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Commissioners, for your continued support.
Are there any journalizations?
There's 3 today, Commissioner. From Economic Development and Planning, case number ANX-13-18, an expedited Type 2 annexation petition was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on May 21st, 2018. The petition is requesting to annex 3.8 acres from Mifflin Township to the City of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 26, 2018. Case number ANX 14-18, an expedited Type 2 annexation was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development Department on May 22, 2018. The petition is requesting to annex 19.24 acres from Perry Township to the City of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 26, 2018. And lastly, case number ANX 15-18, an expedited Type 2 annexation was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on May 22nd, 2018. The petition is requesting to annex 74.89 acres from Blendon Township to the City of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on June 26, 2018. That is all, Commissioner.
Thank you. If there are no further comments or questions, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much.
I don't know if we had anybody here today.